The trade season whispers are getting louder in Los Angeles, and the direction Rob Pelinka is looking might surprise a lot of people. While everyone's been obsessing over one position, the Lakers front office has their eyes locked on something completely different. And the names being discussed could fundamentally change how this team operates down the stretch. Welcome to Lakers News Fan Report, your most trusted destination for breaking updates, exclusive insights, and comprehensive analysis on our beloved Angeles Lakers. I'm here to cut through the noise and bring you the real story behind every decision, every rumor, and every strategic move this organization makes. Today, we're diving into what could be the most important roster conversation of the season. Because the choices we make in the coming weeks might determine whether we're legitimate championship contenders or just another good team in a loaded Western Conference. Let me start by painting the picture of where we are right now. The Lakers are sitting pretty at 11-4 in the West, and this isn't some fluky hot start that's going to evaporate. This is a legitimately improved roster that's playing with purpose, with identity, with a clear vision of what it wants to be. The additions we made in the offseason have paid immediate dividends in ways that even the most optimistic fans couldn't have predicted. We're not just winning games. We're winning them in different ways, showing versatility and depth that this franchise has been missing for years. DeAndre Ayton's arrival eliminated what had been a glaring weakness for us in the low post. For too long, we've been getting bullied down low by physical centers, watching opposing big men feast in the paint while we scrambled to find answers. Ayton changed that overnight. His presence, his size, his ability to protect the rim and finish around the basket gave us a dimension we simply didn't have before. And then there's Marcus Smart, who brought that hard-nosed defensive mentality that championship teams are built on. Smart doesn't just play defense, he sets the tone for an entire unit. He makes everyone around him better, more engaged, more accountable on that end of the floor dot. So yeah, we're improved, significantly improved. But here's the thing about championship aspiration. Good isn't good enough. Being better than last year doesn't guarantee you anything in a conference where you're competing against Denver, Phoenix, Golden State, and a handful of other teams that all think they can win it all. The margin between being a contender and being a pretender is razor thin. And every decision Rob Pelinka makes from here forward could be the difference between hoisting a trophy and going home disappointed. Now, there's been a lot of speculation about what direction the Lakers should go if they decide to make a move. Social media has been flooded with suggestions, mock trades, passionate debates about what this team needs most. And the most common theme I've been seeing is point guard. People look at our backcourt situation and immediately start thinking about adding another ball handler, another facilitator who can take some pressure off our primary creators. On the surface, it makes sense. More playmaking is never a bad thing, right? But here's where insider information becomes crucial, because what fans think the team needs and what the organization actually believes it needs are two very different things. Jovan Buha, one of the most connected Lakers insiders out there, recently addressed this exact question. When asked if acquiring a point guard is a viable option for Los Angeles, his response was definitive and unambiguous. No, not happening. The Lakers have no interest in pursuing a point guard, and the reasoning behind that decision tells you everything about how this front office views the current roster construction. Think about the ball handlers we already have. Luka Doncic is one of the most gifted playmakers in the entire league, a guy who can orchestrate an offense with the best of them. Austin Reeves has developed into a legitimate secondary ball handler who can run pick and rolls, make reads, and create for others. And then there's LeBron James, who despite being in his 40s, is still one of the smartest passers in basketball history. When you've got those three guys sharing the floor, adding another point guard doesn't just seem unnecessary. It actually might create more problems than it solves. Too many cooks in the kitchen, too many guys needing the ball in their hands to be effective. So if point guard is off the table, where is the focus? This is where things get really interesting, and this is where the next few weeks could define our season. The Lakers are zeroing in on the front court, specifically on finding another big man who can share responsibilities with Ayton and give us more versatility in how we attack teams in the paint and on the boards. And when I tell you the names that are being discussed, you're going to understand immediately why this could be a game changer. But before we get to those names, let me explain why this makes so much sense strategically. Jackson Hayes has been solid for us in limited minutes, but let's be real about what he is and what he isn't. Hayes has incredible physical tools, the kind of athleticism and length that you can't teach. But his offensive game is still extremely limited. He's averaging 5.3 points and 4.1 rebounds per game, which is fine for a third-string center, but not nearly enough if you're asking him to be a significant part of your rotation. Right now, Ayton is basically carrying the entire load in the low post, and while he's been fantastic, that's a lot to ask of one player over the course of an 82-game season plus playoff stop. This is where adding another frontcourt piece becomes not just beneficial, but potentially essential. We need someone who can take pressure off Ayton, someone who can be a legitimate offensive threat in the paint, someone who can rebound at a high level and give us a different look depending on matchups. And the three names that keep coming up in these discussions represent three very different but equally intriguing options for how we could upgrade that position. Lauri Markkanen, Daniel Gafford, Domantas Sabonis. Three completely different players with three completely different skill sets, but all three would address specific needs and make us more dangerous in different ways. So let's break down each option, analyze what they will bring to this team, and try to figure out which one makes the most sense for where we are and where we're trying to go. Starting with Lauri Markkanen, and this is the option that probably has the most people excited because of the sheer versatility he would bring. Markkanen isn't your traditional big man who lives in the paint and battles for position. He's a 7-footer who can stretch the floor, knock down threes at an elite level, and create mismatches all over the court. Imagine the pick-and-roll possibilities with Luka Doncic and Markkanen. Luka comes off a screen. The defense has to respect Markkanen's ability to pop and shoot, which opens up driving lanes and passing angles that simply don't exist with traditional big men. That kind of spacing would make our offense nearly impossible to guard when we're clicking dot. But Markkanen isn't just a shooter. He's also a capable rebounder who averaged over 8 boards per game last season. And he's improved his defensive awareness to the point where he's no longer a liability on that end. He's not going to be your rim protector, but he can hold his own in most matchups, and his length bothers shooters on the perimeter. The biggest question with Markkanen is availability and cost. Utah has been reluctant to move him, viewing him as a cornerstone piece of their rebuild. It would take a significant package to pry him away, probably including multiple first-round picks and young players. Is he worth that kind of investment? That's the billion-dollar question Rob Pelinka has to answer. Then there's Daniel Gafford, who represents a completely different archetype. Gafford is your traditional rim-running, lob-catching, shot-blocking center who thrives in the pick-and-roll as the roll man. He doesn't have Markkanen's versatility or shooting ability, but what he does at an elite level. Gafford averaged over 11 points and 7 rebounds per game last season while shooting an absurd 72% from the field. That efficiency is ridiculous, and it comes from his ability to finish everything around the rim. He's also one of the better shot blockers in the league, averaging nearly 2 blocks per game and providing real rim protection. For Luka Doncic specifically, Gafford might be the most natural fit of the three options. Luka's game is built around the pick and roll, and having a big man who can catch lobs, finish above the rim, and clean up misses would make him even more dangerous. Defenses would have to make impossible choices. Do you help off Gafford and give Luka an easy lob? Do you stay home and let Luka get to the rim? There's no right answer, which is exactly what you want from a pick-and-roll partnership. The cost for Gafford would likely be less than Markkanen, since he's more of a role player than a star. But he's also more limited in what he can do. He's not going to create his own shot. He's not going to space the floor. He's purely a complementary piece. And then we have Domantas Sabonis, who might be the most interesting option of all three. Sabonis is a 2-time All-Star who does everything at a high level. He's averaging a double-double for his career. He's one of the best passing big men in the league. He can score in the post and from mid-range, and he's an absolute monster on the glass. Sabonis led the league in rebounds last season, and he's on pace to do it again this year. His playmaking ability from the high post will give us a completely different dimension offensively, allowing Luka and LeBron to play off the ball more and creating opportunities for cutters and shooters. The concern with Sabonis has always been defense. He's not a rim protector. He struggles in pick-and-roll coverage, and his lateral quickness is limited. But here's the thing. We already have defensive anchors in Marcus Smart and solid team defense principles. Sabonis wouldn't need to be our defensive savior. He would just need to hold his own and not be a complete liability. And offensively, the things he would unlock for this team could be transformative. The cost would be significant since Sacramento views him as untouchable. But if there's a scenario where he becomes available, the Lakers absolutely need to be in those conversations. So, which one makes the most sense? That's the question that Rob Pelinka and his staff are wrestling with right now. And honestly, there's no wrong answer. Each player addresses different needs and fits different visions of what this team could become. Markkanen gives you versatility and modern spacing. Gafford gives you traditional pick-and-roll excellence and rim protection. Sabonis gives you all-around production and playmaking from the big man position. The right choice depends on what you value most and what you're willing to give up to get it. What I can tell you is this. The Lakers are actively exploring the front court market. They're not satisfied with just being good. They want to be great. They see an opportunity with this roster, with LeBron still playing at an elite level, with Luka emerging as a superstar, with the pieces around them finally fitting together. Adding one more impact player in the front court could be the move that puts us over the top. That turns us from a playoff team into a legitimate championship threat. The trade deadline is still a few months away, but these conversations are happening now. Teams are gauging interest, discussing frameworks, figuring out what's possible and what's not. Rob Pelinka has shown time and again that he's willing to be aggressive when he sees an opportunity. And I have no doubt that if one of these players becomes available at a price he deems reasonable, he's going to pull the trigger. Here's my take on the situation. I love the focus on the front court. I think it's the right call to pass on adding another point guard. And I think any of these three options would make us significantly better. If I had to rank them based purely on fit and impact, I'd probably go Sabonis first because of his all-around game and playmaking, Markkanen second because of the spacing and versatility, and Gafford third because while he's excellent at what he does, his game is more limited. But again, that's just my opinion based on what I value in a player. Reasonable people can disagree, and I'm sure many of you will. The bottom line is this. The Lakers are in a great position right now, but they're not done building. The next move could define our season. And the fact that we're even having these conversations about adding impact players shows how far this team has come. We're not scrambling to fix problems anymore. We're looking to add pieces that can help us win a championship. That's exactly where you want to be at this point in the season. Now I want to hear from you, Lakers Nation. Which of these three players would you most want to see in purple and gold? Do you agree with the team's decision to focus on the front court instead of adding another point guard? What would you be willing to give up in a trade to land one of these guys? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I genuinely love hearing different perspectives from this passionate fan base. If you found value in this breakdown, if you appreciate the in-depth analysis and insider information we bring here at Lakers News Fan Report, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those notifications so you never miss an update because I'm constantly bringing you the latest news, the most detailed analysis, and the insights that matter most to us as Lakers fans. We're building something special here, just like our team is building something special on the court. Until next time, let's keep that championship mentality and keep believing in what this team can accomplish. Go, Lakers!